Hello and welcome to U.S. Cricket Now, the podcast covering all things Major League Cricket. I'm Peter Della Penna.
And I'm Monank Patel. And coming up on tonight's show, we're going to look at MI New York's 7-wicket victory over the Orcas as Monank Patel hits a match-winning 93.
What a way for Monank Patel to get to a third Major League 50. He's been absolutely brilliant today, and he's leading the charge yet again for the men in blue.
We hear from Glenn Maxwell following his incredible 106 not out.
And to be over here playing at a couple of different venues this year is certainly going to be a great experience, and hopefully we can get the American public right behind this tournament.
And then we also round up. It's been an incredible start to Major League 2025 in Oakland.
Don't forget to follow U.S. Cricket Now on Instagram, X, and TikTok. And you can watch us on YouTube. Just search U.S. Cricket Now. Let's take a look at the action so far at the tail end of the matches in Oakland Coliseum. Aaman, we had 3 matches this week. And we'll start with the most recent one first. MI New York, 2 winless teams. And it was MI New York who came out on top by 7 wickets with Monank Patel setting a U.S. domestic scoring record for MLC. Nobody has made more as a U.S. player than Monank's 93 tonight for MI New York, and it's a second half century of the tournament. He's been off to a fantastic start for MI New York, building off of his form with the USA national team, and he just was so impressive tonight, and it looked like he was going to get to 100, just fell short, but still good enough for a player of the match performance.
Yeah, and I think it just goes back to the way he started his innings. He was 4 off 12 yet again. Remember, when he had his 50 a couple of days ago, he was 11 off 20 or something to the extent. So he was taking his time, he was seeing the wicket, and he said that it got easier to bat after the power play. And so then you could almost just see him start to take the game on, and he got very inventive as well. Typically, we're used to Monank Patel down the ground in the V, but then he started hitting Jesse Singh for a couple of scoops, and you showed the intent and the ability. The aggression was there, and me personally, I think him and Bracewell, that partnership, brought New York back into the game, and he was probably the accelerator within that partnership to start with.
8 4, 7 6s, and you touched on it. Slow starts. That there was, it looks and sounds ridiculous right now after the fact, but there was some discussion going on about, do we see an IPL Ashwin scenario where you retire somebody because they're taking such a slow start? You would never dare do that with Glenn Maxwell, which we saw what happened when you give somebody time to get in. This is not an easy wicket at times to get in. Penna and Aaman made it look so easy, but his innings has really been the anomaly. A lot of guys, when they've made big scores here at Oakland Coliseum, they've been scoring at less than a run a ball for the first 15 or 20 balls. And then once they finally get adjusted to the wicket, that's when they've gone big, and that's what happened to Monank. But would you have ever contemplated, Aaman, retiring him out if he was just inching along and you cross the point of no return where it gets to 25 or 30 balls and he's still at less than a run a ball, that you would pull the trigger and pull him out of the middle and send somebody else in like Nicholas Pooran, who was waiting?
I remember hearing Nicola Thamchandani and Lisa Stalaker talk about it on the broadcast. They were talking about it in the first innings, actually, by Shayan Jahangir. And I sat there and thought, on this tough of a wicket, when you have a batter in form, especially in Monank Patel, there's really no need to do that. To force a Nicholas Pooran in, who we know the nature of him, we know how good he can be, but he doesn't put on the runs this season. It hasn't been to Major League for him to remember. For me, I'm not a fan of pulling out your batter when he's building his innings, when he's taking his time. Yes, if it was a flat deck and there's 300 runs on the board, if there's 280 and you have to go, that's a different story. But this is a pure case of, it's a tough wicket, take your time, and Monank Patel has the runs to back it. I think you have the runs behind you, you need to trust your player to be able to go out there and bat.
Now, after tonight's game, got a chance to speak to MI New York coach Mark Boucher, the former South African international, after the game about MI New York's victory against the Orcas, and specifically asked him about Monank Patel and his exceptional 93. In season 1, when MI New York won the title, domestic players made major contributions to that, and last year, Washington Freedom, similarly, they had Sarvaj Chalker and Andres House arguably played huge roles in their road to the title. Having Monank Patel, USA captain, score a half century the first game and then top scorer and be player of the match in this game, getting a contribution like that from a domestic player, what impact does that have on the overall squad for you?
It doesn't surprise me. Monank's a fantastic player, and I mean that's why he's playing for the USA as well. So I think you look at a player like that, and I've watched him in the nets. I haven't been with him for a long period of time, but his first innings showed me that he's got that sort of know of how to score runs. He struggled up front in the first game, but he stuck it out, and he ended up scoring. I think it was 50 in 30 odd balls, which is exactly where you want to be as a top order batter. Today he came in. Conditions are tough in the power play, especially in the second innings. So we knew it was going to be tough, and he stuck to the plan as well. And then he really expressed himself after that, and he played some fantastic cricket shots all over the park. I mean, when a guy like Henrik Klaasen, who's one of the top batters in the world, where he said that it was really impressive innings, that says quite a bit. And he was the opposing captain, so. As I said, doesn't surprise me. A lot of the locals that I've seen here are very talented cricketers. I think it's sometimes maybe their self-belief lets them down a bit. But that will come with a bit of time and performing against top players worldwide. And I'm sure that as this league grows a bit older, the players will start to realize that we can mix it with the best in the world, and they'll take a lot of confidence from that.
Thanks to Mark Boucher for taking the time to speak to US Cricket Now, and following up on tonight's loss by the Orcas, a heartbreaker considering they posted 200 and had it chased down with an over to spare. They remain winless because in their other match this week against Texas Super Kings on Monday, that one was not a close contest, someone. They got absolutely annihilated, losing by 93 runs, bowled out for 60, and this Orcas squad continues to search for answers. What do you see as the ultimate priority for them going forward when they get to Texas in terms of trying to find a way to fix what seemed to be an endless array of problems for them so far?
There are a lack of options bowling-wise. When you talk about, in terms of their fast bowling bowlers internationally, you look at Obed McCoy, and then Faisal Haq Faruqi was the other option they had. Well, he's not in the country. So now you have to play Obed McCoy. And if you are the bowling isn't going to get you the consistent wickets. And even when they do, your batting hasn't been good enough either. I think we can talk about the bowling all day long. We can talk about Obed McCoy, and we can talk about Cannon, and Jesse Singh has been expensive at times. Harmeet Singh hasn't been all that great throughout the tournament. Sikandar Raza's had his moment. But to me, David Warner's got to get going. This is a league that's dominated by the opening batter. You think about the teams that are upworth and scoring runs. Devin Conway and the Texas Super Kings, Rachin Ravinder and Mitch Owen for the Washington Freedom, Finn Allen, Jake Frazier McGurk, Tim Seifert for the San Francisco Unicorns. There's no shortage of runs at the top order for Seattle. That's all they were at. Kyle Mayer's dropping down to 4 and hitting a brilliant innings is great, but you need it out of David Warner night in and night out.
And what's been so surprising about that is he came into NLC in good form as kind of the PSL. You look at his last several innings to end the PSL, 86, 43, and 75. He was scoring consistently before that for Karachi Kings. And yet, here so far in MLC, 3 innings, 31, 9, and 4. So 44 runs in 3 innings, and each one has been diminishing returns from the previous night. You wonder, maybe it's just a case of change of venue. Maybe he'll start to click when they get to Texas, because they need him. They can't afford to not have David Warner click, because there's only one way to go, and that's up from where they are right now. Now, speaking of going up, and over the fence, that's a lot of what we saw with Glenn Maxwell in his innings. That was the other match that happened this week, as Washington Freedom kept LA Knight Riders winless. They won by 113 runs, and Glenn Maxwell started off very slowly, was scoring at less than a run a ball for his first 15 balls, and then he just turned on the accelerator. 106 not out off 49 balls, 2 4s and 13 6s. And what was so remarkable about that innings to me, Aaman, a lot of focus was put on the start that he had and how he caught up, and it was tough to get going at first. 106 not out off 49 balls. That includes, I think, at least 5 or 6 singles that he turned down across the last for his poor almost got shafted. But it was really, you've seen that from Andre Russell. You've seen that from other guys in some franchise leagues. When they're in the zone, it doesn't matter who's at the non-strikers end. They want the strike, and it proves to be the right decision, because Glenn Maxwell, suddenly he went from 50 to 100 in the space of 4 or 5 overs, and everybody in the stadium could sense this guy's got one mission on his mind, and he's going for that 100, and he made it, and what an innings it was.
It was incredible, and I got to talk to him afterwards during the flash interview really quickly because he needed to go D-pad and get ready to go captain in the second innings, but he talked about his mom and his dad being there. You know, they were here to watch him, and he was like, they don't often get to see me put on some runs, so it was good to do it for them. And, you know, you're asking these questions through the flash, and he got a real smile out of talking about his parents, and that must have been so sweet for the Maxwell family. And then you think about that game, and they were sitting in a position where they could have easily been done over for 140. If Maxwell doesn't go on to score big runs, 140 or 150, and then LKR well within the game, that mental hurdle just wouldn't have been there. So not only was it fabulous innings, but it was under pressure yet again. Maxwell proves he can deliver, and he got to do it in front of his family, and I don't think he could have ridden it any better.
Earlier, before the tournament began, we got a chance to speak to Glenn Maxwell exclusively for U.S. Cricket Now about playing in Oakland Coliseum, the history of this incredible facility, and what it's like adapting to the ever-changing playing conditions that you experience in different venues across America.
Do overseas players like yourself have any sort of appreciation for where this sits in the American sports culture?
Yeah, it's probably something I'm going to have to do a bit more research on. But yeah, as I said, coming in here to a stadium like this, it's obviously got so much rich history, and to have it gracing a different sport and targeting a different audience, hopefully the people of Oakland get right behind it and come out and support it. But it is a pretty surreal, cool experience to be able to come out to a baseball stadium and sort of, I don't know, almost feel the history, almost hit you in the face as soon as you come through the doors. So, yeah, I'll probably do a little bit more research on it and sort of understand the magnitude of what it's like to walk through those doors.
How do you prepare yourself for the extremes, again, going from these kind of conditions to Florida and Texas, where it's going to be obviously extremely hot?
Yeah, it's something we're pretty used to as cricketers. I think even looking at the IPL and the way that you go up north to a place like Dharamshala where you're wearing jumpers and hoodies all the time, and then you go south to Chennai, and all of a sudden you feel like you're in an oven the whole time. And yeah, I think as cricketers we sort of learn to adapt pretty quickly to the conditions and making sure that we're giving ourselves the best chance to be physically right to get through these games.
Do you feel like, even though you're a road team at this venue, do you feel like there's going to be any extra level of community support, considering the fact that Saurabh Netravalkar is from this area and he's obviously now a big hero for the U.S. team with what he did at the World Cup, and also the fact that this is the home of Oracle, where he's also a very famous employee outside of cricket?
No, we're certainly blessed to have Saurabh. He was unbelievable last year, and yeah, I think with his heroics last year leading us to the title, hopefully he gets a stand named after him at some stage, and the Netravalkar stand, and yeah, I think we can hopefully have a bit more of the local support.
And just as defending champs, you've got a little bit of a different mix to the squad. How do you reproduce the chemistry that made the team so successful last year with some changing names and faces?
Well, I think the key part of that is a lot of our locals are exactly the same. We're able to keep the core of the squad together. Yeah, we lose a couple of big name players, but I feel like with the core of our squad still really strong and intact. Hopefully the guys that do come in and replace them, they can sort of fit in seamlessly and carry on with their roles. And hopefully if we get off to the same start we did last year, we can carry that on and potentially go back to back.
Where does playing in California, cricket in California, rate on your list of cricket experiences?
Well, it's going to be right up there. Get the interest in this great game growing.
Anything else you want to say about the start of MLC 2025?
Yeah, I feel like this competition's going from strength to strength. I think the first year there was a nice introduction to, I suppose, cricket in the US. There was heaps of interest about it last year, and hopefully this year it really takes off. And there was a lot of public chatter it felt like even when we were going to baseball games, people in the crowd were talking to us about the game, and there was a lot of general common interest in the game. So hopefully that continues to grow, and who knows, we'll see America competing for T20 World Cups and different World Cups in a couple of years' time.
That's it from Oakland Coliseum. 9 games in 7 days, and everybody's played 3 matches. So we'll take a look at the points table. Unicorns and Super Kings wrapped up their action before today. They're both undefeated going into the Texas leg. 3 wins from 3 matches. Washington Freedom, the defending champs, 2 wins. They're at 4 points on the table in 3rd place behind the Super Kings and the Unicorns. MI New York getting their first win tonight over the Orcas. Meanwhile, the Orcas and the Knight Riders still searching for that first victory on.
Yeah, it's becoming to be 2 halves of the league. And again, you just go back to that top of the order. Whose top orders are firing and whose aren't? And you look at the top orders that aren't firing, they're sitting at 0 points. The ones who at least have 1 batter, MI New York and Monank Patel, hitting some runs. There you go. You got a point to your name. And then when you look at the other 3, there's just plenty of runs on the board. Let's look ahead to what's to come in Dallas. We got the Texas Super Kings taking on the San Francisco Unicorns to start things off June 20th. Peter, that's going to be a mouth-watering contest to kick off the Dallas leg.
Well, a battle of undefeateds, and the bar has been raised here at Oakland Coliseum. We saw what great support the Unicorns got from their hometown fans here in the Bay Area. And so the Super Kings fans, they might be chomping at the bit in Grand Prairie. They've got the gauntlet has been thrown down for them. They've got to match the energy that the Unicorns, the Sparkle Army supporters showed for the Corns, the Unicorns here in the Bay Area. And I have no doubt the season opener in Grand Prairie is going to have a huge crowd coming up in Texas. Now, following on from that, MI New York taking on Washington Freedom. So champions from 2023 have fallen back in form a little bit against the defending champions from 2024.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. That I think is a real opportunity for MI New York to see if they can carry a little bit of that form with them. Monank Patel's batting will be key, and Quinn DeCock has played his best cricket in Major League at Grand Prairie Stadium. So can that lead to things for them? Quinn DeCock and Nicholas Puran, I understand that they were trying to save him for the final 10 overs here. But to me, when they get to Grand Prairie, Nicholas Puran needs to be coming into 3. I don't want to see Michael Bracewell. I don't want to see, Tajinder Singh. I don't want to see anyone else but Nicholas Puran if I'm MI New York. And then moving beyond that, you got the Seattle Orcas, LA Knight Riders. So both of them a chance for some points there. And then following that, the Freedom TSK. So possibly another game of undefeated. So it could be a real nice doubleheader there.
Well, somebody's got to win that Orcas LAKR game. Unless it rains, of course, but we hope, fingers crossed, that
it's Dallas. I think we'll be all right.
We should be okay for that one. Now, over the last couple of days, throughout our time here at Oakland Coliseum, I've been able to speak to some tremendous first-time as well as some lifelong cricket fans here in Oakland in the Bay Area, and they've made some fantastic contributions to U.S. cricket now. Well, on today's episode, we're going to get to hear from a few more. First off, we have the CEO of Qualis. His name is Sumedh Thakkar, and Qualis is emblematic of the Unicorns. It was a startup company that turned into a unicorn. It's now a $1 billion cybersecurity company, and they become the title sponsor of the San Francisco Unicorns. And Sumedh Thakkar was very gracious with giving me some time to speak here at Oakland Coliseum, so we'll hear from him. We also heard from a British couple named Elizabeth and Peter Susskind. Now, Aaman, when I introduced myself and asked their names and where they're from, they started off by saying they're a divorced couple. They used to be married, but clearly they're amicable. They got back together and they become best friends. They remain best friends despite being divorced. And they wanted to come watch cricket at the Coliseum because having spent so much of their lives in England, cricket is something that is a big part of their lives. And they got an opportunity to rekindle that love for cricket here at the Coliseum. So they had some amazing things to say. And then we also got to hear from former USA Under-19 player Sami Siddiqui. Aaman, I know you saw Anika Kalan. The U.S. women's team collectively was here tonight. They were honored at the innings break. It seems like everywhere I turned trying to find a new fan, I would trip over a former USA representative at junior level. Sami Siddiqui was one of those. He represented USA at the 2010 Under-19 World Cup in New Zealand. And He was in the crowd with his family, and I got a chance to catch up with him. Here's what each of these fans had to say.
Tell us, why did Qualis want to get involved with the Unicorns?
Hey, look, I think I'm, originally from India, and you have cricket, which is 2.5 billion people watch every year. It's pure joy to a huge part of the world. And when we had the opportunity to work with the Unicorns, I thought this would be a great way for us to bring that joy here to the US, and sponsoring our local team would give us the opportunity to get cricket more known to our customers, partners, everybody, and just a way to support the community here. That was an exciting opportunity for us.
For people who are not familiar with Qualis, what is the core of the company?
We're cybersecurity. We've been here for about 20 years. We like sponsoring the Unicorns because we think of Qualis as a typical unicorn Bay Area company. We started here with 20 people, and we went public, and we're today a multi-billion-dollar company. And so this is kind of shows you that here in the Bay Area, especially, you can start from wherever you are and grow big, and that's our hope, that the Unicorns team and cricket in America starts here and grows big. Today we are 10,000 plus customers globally. We provide sort of a hacker's eye view of the company's network to every global company out there. And I like to think of it in cricket terms as we're trying to york the bad guys back into their crease so that they don't create much trouble.
I've seen a lot of people who are A's fans or Raiders fans come into here, and these are people who, you hear some of the conversations, they're a bit heartbroken. They want to support a pro sports team here, and the fact that those teams have now left, the Unicorns are filling a void for them. What impact do you think that may have in terms of building awareness for the sport overall, not only in the Bay Area, but broadly across America?
Yeah. Look, I think for us, the opportunity to do this locally was super exciting. Primarily because, as you said, some of the teams have left here, and people want to go to a sporting event. And for us as Qualis, we could sponsor, be a small logo on an F1 car, or be somewhere as a small logo on some jersey, but supporting the Unicorns here, we felt was the maximum impact we could have by actually supporting something where we could have an impact to the local community. A lot of people who are working here at the Coliseum now have more opportunities to be coming in and helping support the fans, and more fans have a local team. And in a way, because of the void that was left, it actually generated more curiosity among local people, because they don't have a competing game or a sport right now here. So we're hoping that all of that will lead to, of course, more people being curious, and more people. I think, as we talked about earlier, almost everybody who came here on Thursday and watched the game the very first time, almost everybody said that they will come back. They are coming back. They really enjoyed it. The exposure to cricket was awesome for them. So I think we feel pretty confident that as more people engage and they learn the joy of cricket and see their team winning, that's going to create more buzz. And again, look, more ticket sales is always good for the economy, and so we can sponsor that and make it happen locally. We are super excited about that.
I'm here with Elizabeth and Peter Suskind. Now, you're originally from London. How did you hear about Major League Cricket and the fact that it was coming to the Bay Area?
I think I had expressed an interest in an international cricket sort of vacationing down in Australia, and because I was on their mailing list, I think I got it through the email, and then I checked it out, and literally the minute I saw the email, I texted Peter and said, what do you think? And he said, right, you get 2 season tickets now. So I got right on it and got 2 season tickets straight away.
You've been here pretty much every day.
Yeah.
What has been your experience like so far, the first 5 days here of cricket in Oakland Coliseum?
Absolutely excellent. We've loved it. Of course, we're supporting the San Francisco Unicorns, obviously. So today we very much want Texas to lose. But the quality of cricket has been very high.
Yeah.
We've been very impressed at how well they play, these guys.
Sami Siddiqui, he played for USA under 19 at the 2010 under 19 World Cup. To see cricket played at a venue like this, where you grew up watching the A's and the Raiders play here, what is this like for you?
Yeah, this is absolutely incredible. Like for us, Cricket Stadium kind of goes back to like Broward County, Fort Lauderdale. around the time you started covering U.S. cricket too. We were just propping up that stadium, and so even then, as they were building that stadium, I could have never imagined that, like, down the freeway from where I live in the Oakland Coliseum, I would be seeing cricket. Like I've always loved the Oakland A's outfield, the way the grass is manicured. Like, always, like, growing up, like doing math homework, watching TV, watching the Oakland A's play in this Coliseum. And then today, like, coming here and then watching the cricketers we see on TV playing at the highest level here, playing in Oakland Coliseum, it's, anything more than I could imagine.
Whether it's a Stephen Taylor, who you played with, obviously, or even just getting a chance to see Rahul Jarwal, he hasn't taken the field yet, but you see him walking the sidelines, going through training, or somebody like Sanjay Krishnamurti, who's from the Bay Area now and is representing the Unicorns. When you see the U.S. players rubbing shoulders with these guys, what goes through your mind?
I think that's what it's all about. If you're going to grow this sport in this country organically, I think that's the kind of role models the kids need. In the Bay Area, if you look at the academies we have, like, without exaggeration, you're talking about hundreds, if not thousands of kids in the age ranks playing cricket on almost a daily basis. And those kids, more so than obviously our generation, they need these role models. And seeing, like, their role models or their local role models compete with the guys that they see on TV and IPL, I think it's a great thing for them to have. It's something great for them to aspire to, and I think it really, really bodes well for U.S. cricket in the future.
Our thanks to Sumedh Thakar, the CEO of Qualis, Elizabeth and Peter Suskins, who had such amazing contributions, as well as former USA Under-19 international Sami Siddiqui. Now, it's question time, Aaman. We've got a fan mail from Jordan, who asks, which players in MLC who are not currently involved with the USA national team are likely to be called up soon? Aaman, is there somebody that you can think of that has stepped up and performed early on in MLC that you think is really pushing to force their way into the USA squad?
And there's someone who hasn't represented the USA before. So let's go Carmine LaRue. I really like the addition of Carmine LaRue. Very tall individual from the left, and he's different than Sarabjit Thevarkar. A little bit more pace, a little bit more bounce, moves the ball early. I think he's an asset unlike anything we've had in USA colors. Hassan Khan, I don't think is eligible yet. When he gets eligible, I think he should sub right into the team. But if I would pick one guy, Carmine LaRue, also give a special shout out to Calvin Savage. I just like the idea of a lower order bat in the lineup.
Calvin has been doing great things for the Super Kings. He's based in Chicago, and he's been looking very macho. He's rekindling the memories of Macho Man. Calvin Savage. Could he make a USA debut? Time will tell. Well, thank you for Jordan sending in that question. And we want to hear from all of you on US Cricket Now. Email us at uscricketnow@gmail.com. And a reminder, again, you can follow US Cricket Now on YouTube, Instagram, X, and TikTok. Just search US Cricket Now.
And don't forget to subscribe, follow us, and rate us on Apple and Spotify. So if you want to get in touch with us, just drop an email at uscricketnow@gmail.com. Again, that's uscricketnow@gmail.com.
US Cricket Now is a Viral Tribe Entertainment and Square Cut production. We'll see you after this weekend when the action shifts to Grand Prairie, Texas, and we'll be back to review all the weekend's action after the finale on the weekend between Texas Super Kings and Washington Freedom. But that's it from the Oakland Coliseum. We can't wait to come back, Aaman. Thank you for tuning in to US Cricket Now.